Hey, this is Jay from Byte-Size Politics, your channel for smart, quick news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about the Republican tax cut plan.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare.
So today, like I said, we're talking about the Republican tax cut plan, and my opinion on it is that it's pretty good, actually. If it was a movie, I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's not Wonder Woman or anything, but, you know, it's Spider-Man Homecoming. It's got some good stuff for the working class and the poor, but at the same time, it expands the deficit way more than I would like. Okay, so now, the best part about it, from my perspective, is the corporate tax cut. So how does cutting taxes for corporations benefit the working class and the middle class? There's a lot of ways, actually. The first one is in higher wages. Economists estimate that anywhere from 25 to 40% of a company's tax burden comes out of their employees' wages. In other words, that if they weren't paying as much in taxes, that money would be going to wages instead. So that's the first benefit. And the Republican tax cut plan actually reduces the corporate tax rate from 35 down to 20. So it is a major, major cut. The second thing is in competitiveness. All right, so if you picture the world we live in nowadays, it is vastly more globalized and interconnected than when I was a kid 1,000 years ago. Exports and imports are just off the charts compared to what they were when I was young. And so because of that, we're in competition. Companies aren't just in competition with each other, but with the rest of the world. And so when you understand that we have the highest corporate taxes in the industrialized world, then we're competing at a constant disadvantage with everybody else. We have a 35% rate. Ireland, for example, has a 12.5% rate. So we're wearing a 35% backpack in this run that we're doing, while they've got a 12.5 pound one. There's a big difference there. So this makes America more competitive. By making us more competitive, it lowers the cost of production, for example. And so our exports are now more attractive to other countries. And so where we're constantly getting killed by importing a lot more than we export, now other countries are going to be much more interested in buying our goods. A lower corporate tax rate also encourages American businesses to stay in the United States rather than shipping jobs overseas, or some companies have actually pursued mergers with larger foreign companies so that they could then have their headquarters in another country and avoid our punishing tax rates. So you're going to stop driving so many jobs overseas by lowering the corporate tax rate. And then the last thing, as far as the competitive side, is that it's going to encourage foreign direct investment. If I'm an investor from Saudi Arabia or China and I've got a bunch of dollars and I need to put them somewhere, I'm going to go to the place that's the most attractive. And investing in a country with lower corporate tax rates is certainly more appealing than one with a high one. And so right now we're discouraging people from coming here and building factories, creating jobs. And this will change that. Next, it'll boost the stock market. And that sounds like something where the 1% who are lighting their cigars with $100 bills would benefit. But remember, over half of Americans are invested in the stock market. That's through pension funds, 401ks, IRAs, individual stocks and bonds, and a strong majority of the middle class are in the stock market. And so this is going to benefit over half of America. Another one that's a little more complex, but there's $3.1 trillion in corporate earnings that are locked overseas. In other words, they're afraid to bring them back because they're going to get taxed heavily on it. The Republican lowering the corporate tax rate, and with some of the benefits that are going to be given through this bill, that money can come home. And so that's $3.1 trillion that goes into investment to new jobs, new factories, new construction, and things like that. Now, when you realize that the entire United States economy in an entire year produces $18 trillion, $3.1 trillion is actually a lot of money. And it's basically like a blood transfusion into the national economy. Okay, so maybe blood transfusions skeeve you out. So instead, think of pie. Everybody likes pie. There's 2 ways to think of the economy as a pie. One is to think of it as a fixed pie. And this is what people like Bernie Sanders want to do. So the pie is only so big, and it only matters how we split it up so that everybody gets pieces. A smarter and better way to look at an economy is that you can grow the pie. You can make a bigger pie. And that's what investment does. Investment is just another word for new jobs, new construction, new factories, and new opportunities for people. By growing the pie, we all get a bigger piece rather than fighting over the scraps. Now, this isn't just a theoretical thing. If you need a dramatic example of this, look at the rest of the world and look what's happened over the last 40 years as the developing world has abandoned the socialist dreams and fantasies that they pursued for much of the 20th century. The developing world is increasingly embracing market-friendly ideas, and you're seeing global poverty rates drop like a stone, and that's growing the pie. Now, predictably, Democrats are attacking this corporate tax cut as a terrible thing. And here's something that Al Gore might call an inconvenient truth. Barack Obama in 2012 proposed a corporate tax cut as well. Now, he never got around to doing it, but it's on the record. And for you Bernie bros out there who want America to be a lot more like Sweden, you'll like this then. Sweden's corporate tax rate is 22%. Ours is 35%. The Republican bill will put us down to 20%. So basically, we'll be like Sweden. Now, what about the cuts in the personal income tax side? Look at this chart and see who benefits from it. 80% of families making $50,000 to $75,000, so right in the middle, are going to see a significant cut of around $1,000 to their taxes. And as a matter of fact, this chart understates it because there's been a further change to the Republican bill. There's been an amendment so that people living in high tax states like New York and California are going to benefit more from it. So it's probably going to be closer to 100% of families are going to be seeing a benefit from this. Now, Democrats are complaining that this tax cut isn't going to benefit the poor, but that's just spin. 45% of Americans don't pay income tax at all. And so how do you give a tax cut to somebody who isn't paying taxes? The average middle-class family is going to see a cut of about $1,000 a year in their tax bill. And for many of us, that's real money. I hope this video has been helpful. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and check in next Thursday when we'll have another video for you. Until then, have a great week.